Alright, what's going on, guys? I figured I'd upload a tutorial to kind of show off a little bit of this program called RizomUV. Now, this was formerly known as Unfold 3D by Rizom Labs, but basically, new name, same program, few upgrades. In a nutshell, what this program does is that helps you unwrap all of your 3D models, and it has a bunch of tools at its disposal to help you do this properly, quickly, as well as the best way possible. This program has an algorithm that is able to pack and repack your UVs after you have basically told it, what your UV islands are going to be and how they're going to be laid out. This thing will be able to help you figure that out the best possible way within the UV space and help you utilize as much of the texture space as possible so that your textures don't look, in some parts of your model, they're very blurry, other parts, they're very sharp. This will do a very good job at making sure that all of your UV faces um, are the size that they would be represented on the actual 3D model within a 2D UV space. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to have to go in here and kind of do this by hand. So if you could bear with me. Um, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going in and creating seams so that when seams are created, basically what happens is that tells this program, okay, you got these edges selected. What do you want to do? Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting these edges, making them have seams. And what that's going to do is it's going to create UV islands for me in a sense of wherever those seams are on the model, um, is where basically the UV islands are going to have their edges. So if you think about how you lay out any sort of UV, be it for light mapping or texturing, this program can do both for you. Up here, you could even set like the pixel space between UV islands as well as spacing between the outer UV square space and all your islands together, so that if you had to do light mapping, um, you could already tell it based on pixel sizes what you need it to do and what you want it to do. Um, and essentially, it will do everything you need it to do. You just got to be you just got to think ahead, really. What you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. See, I should have probably just done this first. Sometimes when you, so for instance, what you're seeing me do is when I double click, I'm literally just using left mouse button, clicking on it, and that will pick one edge. But if I double click on it, it will keep going, creating a loop around wherever it can. So that's why I'm having issues right now, having to unselect some of these. Now, if I do that again, if I double click again on some of these, what will happen is they'll go all the way around again and deselect everything, even parts that I don't want it to deselect. So sometimes it's gonna be a pain in the butt unless you know obviously all the hotkeys, um, shortcuts, things like that. You really got to get good with the program. I just started using this a little while ago. So again, basically what this program does for you is it makes sure that all of your UVs are laid out flat properly. This way you can make sure that all of your textures and materials or whatever you apply to this model, whatever game engine, CGI, high production project you may be working on, you're going to know without a shadow of doubt that your textures will be laid out across this properly. So if I can get in here real quick. I just wanted to show you how this is done. And normally with a model like this, what you'd probably want to do is before you simulate a cloth modifier with, like, say 3ds Max or something, you want to make sure that you probably bring out the flat version of the, say, this blanket, and you do this quickly, like on each side. You don't have to go under folds or anything like that and screw around. You can see I'm having issues with this myself. I'm just trying to make sure that I get all the ones that matter. Anything out of view, I mean, it's not really concerned, but it will affect the overall layout. Trying to get in here because I can see some between, but maybe it's just a graphical glitch. So if you were to think, okay, hey, I need to make some light maps, right? And you needed to lay these out quickly. And if you're not using something like Pixel Snap, or you are, but you still need to lay them out quickly, this program can definitely be very, very helpful for that part of the process. I know a lot of people hate. Geez, this thing keeps selecting a lot of the ones I don't want. This is the problem with the double clicking and setting up loops. Sometimes, you'll find one thing that you missed, and you'll try to just select one part of the edge, hoping that it will finish what you're doing, and next thing you know, you have to unselect all these other edges because it decided to loop across the entire model in 4 different ways, as you can see here. There is settings, though, where you can limit how far it goes. You could probably even control exactly where it goes on the model itself, like across areas like this, which they don't really need it to do. Again, there's probably other settings where you could, like in 3ds Max, for instance, you could make sure it doesn't select the back faces or any other parts of the model back that you don't want it to. It's weird because it won't let me do it from inside, even though I'm right near the spot where that's popping through. Well, anyway, this is probably the best I'm going to get this anyways. And so basically, now that I have them all selected, there's another step we have. Oh, glad I didn't continue on there. All right. I think we're good. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up here, click on cut, and we can just press C. So what that essentially has done is that it has made the seams permanent, and now all of the UV faces of model are where they should be, at least according to the seams. And so again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to select polygon, then select all. You want to go to unfold. Click on that. And over here, what you're going to see right here, that's not supposed to happen. That was a mistake because there was some edges I couldn't deselect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually go under edge again. I'm going to go over here. Oh, whoop. All right, and so we can do that. And what's going to happen is it's going to weld all those edges. Now, it may be all kind of screwed up, but again, like I said, we can go to select all polygons, unfold, again, fit, center. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go do that, and that pretty much straightened everything out that it could. Again, I'm going to click on fit, do packing. Now, one thing that I want to point out here that's very important is that you can set the quality of your packing that the algorithm does, and you can select the amount of times that it will calculate down here. You'll see it how many different types of packing setups it can do for you. So you can go up to 10, 100, 1,000. So it might take a long time, but for some more complex models that you may need to utilize as much texture space as possible, but you need the best possible setup, this is perfect for you. This is one of the best things about this program. So what I'm going to do is go to 10. I'm not going to do like 100 right now. I'm going to set this up to gold. Um, and again, we're just going to do pack. And so you see it down here doing its magic. Now I see one part of this UV layout already that could probably be moved, which would be this one down here. So that's probably going to work if I do like 100 mutations. But I just want to kind of show you real quick before I do that and speed up the video, is that as you can see, this texture, this checker texture, is basically just representing what it would look like if a texture was applied to this model, like say a cloth or something. Um, this is just representing how straight the texture is going to be. You know, like in real life, if you had a blanket, if it was sewed and all that, you know, you're going to see it's going to look straight across the blanket on, you know, each way. You wouldn't see blankets that have like designs that go crazy in one direction if it was meant to look like it's one piece of blanket with like little stitches, seams, you know, little patterns and stuff, unless they're trying to do like a simple sheet where all of the images go diagonal. But in essence, what you want to see when using this program and selecting this, this, and this is this right here. This is what you're looking at. Once you see that the faces all have the texture lining up to the edges perfectly, even if it's cutting through some of these squares, it doesn't matter. It's just showing you, look how straight this texture, whatever texture you put on me, is going to be perfect. And that really helps, you know, to make sure that all of the highest resolution that you could possibly get out of your model will be achieved based on this program's power alone. So as you can see here, again, it's just showing you, like if this was in the background here, how it's going to map across blanket. So there's that. Again, I could do this 100 times if I wanted to, but we'll be here all day. And the only thing it's probably going to change is move this down here. So over here, fit and pack, you kind of want to jump between these two if you can. Kind of want to keep it 1-to-1 scale. Oh, actually, I didn't have that selected, huh? Maybe not. Maybe you don't want 1-to-1 scale. All right. I guess if you really want to learn more about this program, just look up Rizom Labs or RizonUV on YouTube, as well as another channel that I've been watching a lot lately called Digital Meat. That is Digital MEAT. And one of the guys that does the narrations for the Rizom Labs tutorials is the guy that's on that channel. So he actually does two sets of tutorials for this very same program. But yeah, basically that's it. I mean, there's not much else I can see that this program is really meant for. This is just basically to make it easier for you to lay out your UVs outside of your 3D program. And then once you're done doing it, you can save as. You could even save as a new version if you want to keep the original and kind of just compare. Sometimes I just overwrite the model that I brought in, so that way it just saves the UVs in its place. And so what would happen is if I went into, say, 3ds Max, do this real quick. Now this is an older layout that I did, but you can see that I've used the same program. Everything's pretty much flattened out the way it probably would look before you did the cloth simulation for the blanket. And like I said, once you save the model, if I were to re-import the same FBX again, what's going to happen is that this will stay in the same spot because of where the pivot is and it's in the center of the world. And then it would have a different UV layout to best utilize, again, textures and light mapping that is possible. So that's basically it. I mean, you can jump right into this program pretty quickly. Another thing I'd like to show a few people, because this is a very, very cool part of this program, is that it has a kind of layout, UI layout hotkey preset option in here for many programs. So I use 3ds Max, so naturally, you know, they're going to set all the same kind of hotkeys for 3ds Max to this program. Now, if I selected Maya or ZBrush or something else, all those keys would change to suit that program. So whatever program you're used to, you can set the hotkeys accordingly. And even if you want, you can make a customized one. So let's say that you have a few things that are customized in your program, but you have a lot of defaults. Just select that and then select which ones that you've changed and then just change them. So that's another cool thing to know about in this program. It'll help you out a lot to figure out how to move um, in both spaces here without having issues, because at first I know that I wasn't familiar with this program or the hotkeys, so I couldn't really figure out anything. But once I was able to figure that part out, then I can move everything around and get right into the meat of things. So again, basically, go into edge mode, select edges, create seams, unfold your model, lay it out properly over here. You have all these different options um, in different areas that you can look into. Obviously, if you know what you're doing, and then you can create a pretty awesome textured model, perfectly textured model, I'd say, with consistent resolution and texel density for your models. So, all right, guys, hopefully this was informative. And if you have any questions, please just drop them down in the comments section below. But again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.